After I read that, it felt like there was a presence in the room, such a heavy presence. It felt like somebody was right there with me. And I remember looking around, I'm like, wow, I know I can't see anybody, but I know there's somebody here. And I stayed for a bit, then I left and went back to class and never thought a thing about that incident again. And then 2 days later, my dad calls me when I was in the house. I think it was like a weekend. My dad called me. So like the prayer was on a Friday, and then the Sunday, I'm at home, and my dad calls me and is like, come and let's try and pay for your applications. I got a little bit of money. Maybe we can push out like one application or something like that. And I was like, cool, let's try for my dream school, so that like at least if I miss every other one, I can try and get into my dream school and I'll be fine, so I don't have to apply to the other 9 schools. And so we try to input his card details. So first you have to click apply before it leads you to the payments part. So he gets his card, we're ready to put in the card details. And then once I clicked apply, tell me why the application went. Like, we didn't pay anything. It was so shocking. I was like, did we make a mistake? And he was looking at me like, what? And I was looking at him like, what? We didn't pay a thing. The application went. We didn't spend any $50 or anything. The application just went. And that was to Drexel University, because that was my #1 choice for interior design. I wanted to study interior design like no man's business. I had a whole portfolio of art that I had done. I had proven myself worthy of the course and all of that. And so it was so shocking that like the application just went. And so I thought there was an error. I was using Common App. For those who know Common App, it helps you send applications to American universities, because I wanted to go to an American university. So I was kind of confused. I thought maybe there was an issue with my application. And so the next day when I went to school, I spoke to my university counselor. By the way, I think it was after or before the prayer, I had spoken to her. I'll never forget Miss Samantha. Miss Samantha really helped me. So I went and I spoke to her and I told her that, you know what, this is the situation at home. I can't afford to send this application. I'd really appreciate if Common App could give me a fee waiver on my application so that I only pay a certain amount or a certain percentage. And she said, okay, they'll see what they can do about it, and that was it. So the next day on Monday, I went to her first thing in the morning and I told her that, Miss Samantha, I tried to send the application and it never asked me to pay a fee. It actually just went through to Drexel University. And she was like, oh, that's great. Then it means they've given you 100% fee waiver. And I was like, what? And she was like, yeah. So she opened it to check and she was like, oh, Fiona, they actually gave you a full fee waiver on all the applications you want to send. So you can send all your 10 applications to any of the US universities and you don't have to pay a cent. See how God works. It wasn't just one school, it was all the 10 schools. And I kid you not, I applied to all my 10 schools in the United States within that week. Like, I was even getting more schools, like even schools I wasn't necessarily like interested in. I was like, you know what, let me just use this opportunity to send in as many applications as I can. So that was the first part of the testimony. The second part was that not only was I able to send the applications to these universities, I also got into every single one of them. Like, I literally got into all my 10 schools. I did not have even a single rejection letter. And it gets better. Each of these schools gave me scholarship. Guys, I'm not even kidding. Each of these schools gave me scholarship. And I was so... You know, God really comes through. God really comes through, because he knew that if he doesn't do it for me, there was no way I was going to afford any of those schools. Yes, not all of them like had the exact level of scholarship or the exact amount, but the highest one I got was on my dream school, which was Drexel University. I got 80% scholarship, which was huge. Like, it was humongous, you know. and the rest were like, let's say 70%. Most of them were just like 70%, all the other 9, and then Drexel was 80%. And so then there was a challenge, like, okay, I got the 80% at Drexel, but I'm not able to go. So what do we do? I prayed about it. Before I got into Drexel, right, God communicated to me through a dream that I knew I got into Drexel, but then I was not able to go. So in the dream, like, I got my admission letter, my acceptance letter, and then I was packing to leave for Drexel, and I got to Drexel, and there was this huge gate, like a really, really high wall that nobody could go through. And so me and my parents were there with the car, we have our stuff, but then we were told that we couldn't go inside. And then I woke up and I was like, God, what does this mean? And then that's the same day when I got the acceptance, and it wasn't 100%. And little did I know in that moment that God was actually redirecting me. God was telling me that I have honored you by giving you this school that you wanted. However, it's not in my will and plan for your life. I acknowledge your desire, and I've done this to let you know that I am with you. Right? So when I told Miss Samantha about it, she was like, oh, you know, there are other schools that have 100% scholarship, and I know for sure that you will get in. So one was in, what's the place? African Leadership University. I forgot where it is. And then there was Ashesi University in Ghana. So you see, this Ghana story goes all the way back. And I told her, nope, there's no way, absolutely no way I'm going to Ghana. But look at me. The long and short of it was that I never succeeded in trying to escape Miss Samantha's constant push to apply to India. And I sent my application, I think like 3 days before it closed, or I think the same day it was closing or something like that. I missed all the different rounds, and God forgive me, I did it so shadily. Like, I didn't put as much effort as I should have, but God being so good, I was still accepted. But I remember when I got my acceptance letter, I was so shocked because they didn't just accept me, they gave me full scholarship, 100% scholarship to the place. All I needed to do was book my flight. Everything else was taken care of. And I kid you not when I tell you that going to Ashoka University was the best decision, best academic decision, best spiritual decision, best lifestyle decision I ever made in my entire life. I didn't know what God was doing, but He knew what He was doing. And honestly, He came through. I'm glad I didn't go to Drexel University. I'm glad I didn't go to the US, even though at that point it was my dream school. I'm just grateful that God redirected me. And so I'm sharing this to just encourage you. If God redirects you, even in your quest for finding a school, just trust that He has your best interest at heart. And God doesn't just look at what you're going to gain academically from that place. He looks at what you're going to gain spiritually. What kind of friends are you going to make? How are you going to grow as a person? What opportunities will exist for you over there and beyond that place? God is a God of system and a God of order. So just because He said no to this particular one, based on, just because He said no to one particular thing doesn't mean that He's saying no to the rest of your life. No, there are things that He can see that you can't see. And don't stop praying. If God could sponsor me since 5th grade all the way to university, masters and all of that, He can sponsor you too. Our God is such a loving God. He's such a caring Father. Keep praying, keep believing, keep trusting. If you're praying and believing and trusting God for a university, please mention it in the comment section so we can pray together and share your testimony once the testimony comes about. So this is just the beginning of the testimony series. This was about school. Of course, there are many more to do with school that maybe I'll share later on, but this just had to go out there for somebody who's trusting God for fees, school, whatever it is. God bless you and see you in the next video. And don't forget to get yourself a message box from the message community and this really cool sweatshirt. God bless you.